The 1978 Washington quarter is one of those coins that most people see as just another ordinary piece of change. Something you drop into a vending machine or leave in the cup holder of your car without a second thought. But what if I told you that this unassuming coin, minted in the late 1970s, could be worth a fortune today? What if that simple 25-cent piece in your pocket, purse, or coin jar could actually be valued anywhere from $48,300 to a jaw-dropping $300,000? That's not a myth, not an exaggeration, but a reality in the world of numismatics where rarity, condition, and history collide to create incredible value out of what seems like the most ordinary thing. To really understand why the 1978 Washington quarter has become such an intriguing coin, we need to first look at its place in American coinage. By 1978, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for decades, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, the obverse of the coin featured Washington's bust, while the reverse carried the heraldic eagle, wings spread proudly, clutching arrows and olive branches. For generations, this was the standard look of the quarter, one that Americans became so accustomed to seeing every day. But not every quarter is created equal, and the 1978 edition proved to be one of the most interesting in modern history. One of the reasons the 1978 quarter has become highly collectible is because of its role as a transitional piece in U.S. coinage. It was minted during a time when the mint was experimenting with techniques, dealing with fluctuating demand for coinage, and navigating the economic realities of the 1970s. The coinage metals had already shifted in 1965, moving away from silver to copper-nickel-clad compositions. By 1978, the quarter was entirely copper-nickel, but what collectors didn't realize then was that the smallest imperfections, the smallest minting errors, and the rarest pristine conditions would later turn certain 1,978 quarters into treasures worth more than anyone could imagine. The design itself is iconic. On the obverse, George Washington's portrait faces left, his expression calm yet determined, with the word liberty above and the national motto, "In God We Trust," prominently displayed. The date, 1978, anchors the bottom of the coin. On the reverse, the majestic eagle perches atop a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness for defense, with olive branches below, symbolizing peace. The details of the feathers, the sharpness of the lettering, and the clarity of the design play a huge role in determining the coin's condition and thus its value. Now here's where things get fascinating. While millions of these coins were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, finding one in perfect, mint state condition is extremely difficult. Coins that went into circulation almost immediately picked up scratches, dings, and wear. That means the few examples that survived in pristine, untouched condition have become incredibly rare. And in numismatics, rarity drives value. A 1978 Washington quarter in high mint state, MS 66 or higher on the Sheldon scale, is already rare enough to attract strong interest. But when you start talking about near-perfect examples, the prices skyrocket, with some of the highest graded coins commanding values in the staggering range of $48,300 to $300,000. But condition isn't the only factor that makes the 1978 quarter special. There are also fascinating minting errors and varieties that add layers of intrigue. For instance, some quarters from 1978 show off-center strikes, double strikes, or die cracks that make them completely unique. In some cases, coins were struck on the wrong planchets. Imagine a quarter accidentally struck on a nickel or dime blank. These rare minting mistakes often become one-of-a-kind collectibles, the kind of pieces that collectors will pay top dollar to acquire. The combination of a 1978 date and a dramatic error is a formula for astonishing auction prices. One of the most exciting things about the 1978 Washington quarter is how it bridges everyday life with the potential for extraordinary value. This is a coin most people have handled without ever realizing its worth. Unlike ancient coins locked away in museums or early American rarities that only the wealthiest collectors can dream of owning, the 1978 quarter was, and still is, a coin that could realistically show up in everyday circulation. That means the possibility of finding one, whether in a forgotten coin jar, in a drawer, or even as change from a purchase, still exists. Imagine the thrill of discovering that the 25 cents you almost spent on a gumball is actually worth enough to buy a house. That's the magic that keeps collectors searching. The story of its value also lies in how collectors perceive the 1970s coins. Many people dismiss modern coins as uninteresting or too common to matter. But the reality is, because people assumed they weren't worth saving, fewer pristine examples were actually preserved. This creates scarcity today. Collectors looking to complete high-quality Washington quarter sets often struggle to find certain dates in gem condition, and 1978 is one of the hardest. When a coin is both common in circulation but scarce in top condition, that creates a perfect storm for skyrocketing value at auction. Auction records reveal just how remarkable this coin can be. While lower-grade examples are worth only face value or slightly more, it's the upper end of the grading spectrum that changes everything. Coins graded MS-67 or higher, especially with exceptional eye appeal and strong luster, have commanded tens of thousands of dollars. And when you get into the rarest survivors with nearly flawless condition, that's when you see the jaw-dropping figures, values ranging from $48,300 to $300,000. It's hard to believe that such a number could be attached to a coin minted as recently as the late 1970s. But that's exactly what has happened. Beyond condition and errors, there's also the cultural and nostalgic appeal of the 1978 quarter. For many Americans, coins from the 1970s carry personal meaning. They remind people of a specific era in history of gas shortages, disco music, cultural shifts, and the transition toward the 1980s. Owning a coin from 1978 isn't just about having a piece of metal. It's about holding a snapshot of history, a tangible reminder of the times. This connection between coins and cultural memory makes them more than just collectibles. They become artifacts of shared experience. Another point that adds to the allure is the unpredictability. With older coins, their rarity and value are well documented and stable. But modern rarities like the 1978 quarter keep surprising the numismatic community. Every time a new high-grade example is discovered or another era coin comes to light, collectors and investors alike are reminded that treasures still exist in places you'd least expect. That unpredictability keeps demand alive and values soaring. Think about the psychological effect. 2. Everyone wants to believe they could stumble upon hidden treasure, and the 1978 Washington quarter embodies that dream. You don't have to be an expert collector or wealthy investor to potentially find one. You just need a good eye, some patience, and a little luck. And if fortune smiles upon you, that simple coin you almost overlooked could transform into a windfall worth $48,300 to $300,000. That possibility is what keeps people searching coin rolls, attending estate sales, and checking every piece of pocket change with anticipation. So when you look at a 1978 Washington quarter, don't just see it as a piece of loose change. See it as a potential treasure, a piece of American history, and a reminder that value often hides in the most unexpected places. From its iconic design to its connection with an era of transition, from its rarity in pristine condition to the jaw-dropping values it can achieve at auction, the 1978 quarter stands out as one of the most intriguing modern coins in U.S. history. And perhaps the most exciting part, there are still undiscovered examples out there. Somewhere, sitting unnoticed in a jar or tucked away in a drawer, is a 1978 quarter waiting to change someone's life. It could be worth far more than its humble face value, with collectors willing to pay anywhere from $48,300 to $300,000 for the right piece. That's the incredible story of the 1978 Washington quarter. A coin that proves sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding in plain sight. Do you want me to expand this into a longer script, closer to 5,000 or even 8,000 words, with deeper dives into the U.S. Mint's decisions in the late 1970s, detailed grading explanations? The 2014 Great Sand Dunes quarter is one of those coins that at first feels ordinary, something most people would overlook in pocket change or tucked away in an old coin jar. But as with many modern quarters in the America the Beautiful series, there's an incredible story hiding behind this coin. And it's a story that combines American history, artistry, minting precision, and collector demand. More importantly, it's a story that transforms what seems like an everyday 25-cent piece into something that could be worth an astonishing amount of money. Believe it or not, certain examples of the 2014 Great Sand Dunes quarter have been known to fetch between $52,000 and $128,000, making this coin one of the most exciting modern treasures still circulating today. To understand why this particular quarter can be so valuable, we need to step back and look at where it comes from. The America the Beautiful series was launched by the U.S. Mint in 2010 and continued until 2021, covering 56 unique designs, each representing a national park or historic site from across the United States and its territories. It was essentially the successor to the popular 50-state quarters program, which had ignited a collecting frenzy from 1999 through 2008. While the state quarters program focused on state pride and created massive public interest in collecting, the America the Beautiful quarters aimed for something even more meaningful, a tribute to America's natural beauty, culture, and heritage. In 2014, the Great Sand Dunes Quarter was released as part of the series, and it represented Colorado's spectacular Great Sand Dunes National Park and Preserve. If you've ever seen these dunes in person, you know just how breathtaking they are. Rising dramatically from the San Luis Valley, with the Sangre de Cristo Mountains looming in the background, the dunes are the tallest in North America, some towering over 750 feet. They've been shaped over thousands of years by wind and water, creating a surreal landscape of shifting sands that feels both ancient and otherworldly. Choosing this site for a quarter was a way to honor one of the country's most unique natural wonders. The coin's reverse design captures this perfectly. It shows a father and son playing in the sand at the base of the dunes, while the mountains and sweeping sands rise majestically behind them. The design is powerful because it's not just about the natural beauty. It's also about human connection to nature. It reminds us that national parks aren't just places to preserve, but places to enjoy, places where memories are made. On the obverse, as with all quarters in the America the Beautiful series, we see the familiar profile of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, which has been a staple of U.S. quarters since 1932. Now, at first glance, the 2014 Great Sand Dunes Quarter doesn't seem particularly rare. After all, the Denver and Philadelphia mints struck millions of these coins for circulation, meaning they were widely available. But as with all coins, the true value lies in the details. Collectors know that certain conditions, varieties, and mint errors can transform an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. And that's exactly what has happened with the Great Sand Dunes Quarter. The first factor is condition. While millions were struck, only a tiny fraction survive in flawless, high-grade condition. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, and those that come close to a perfect grade of 70 are extremely rare. A Great Sand Dunes Quarter graded at MS68 or MS69, with brilliant luster, sharp detail, and no visible flaws, is highly sought after. These coins, especially when certified by top grading companies like PCGS or NGC, can command prices in the tens of thousands. It's within these pristine examples that we find some of the jaw-dropping auction results, where a coin valued at just 25 cents in circulation soars to prices ranging between $52,000 and $128,000. Then, there are the error coins. Mint errors are a big part of why modern coins can become so valuable, and the Great Sand Dunes Quarter is no exception. One of the most fascinating errors to look for is the double die. This occurs when the coin's design elements are doubled during the minting process, creating a ghost-like effect on inscriptions or details. On this quarter, doubling could appear in the words United States of America, e pluribus unum, or even in the fine details of the dunes or mountains. Strong doubling instantly turns a coin into a rare and collectible piece. Another error to watch for is an off-center strike. These happen when the blank planchet isn't properly aligned during striking, resulting in part of the design being cut off while the rest of the coin shows blank space. Off-center strikes that still display the date and design clearly are highly prized by collectors, and for a 2014 Great Sand Dunes Quarter, such an error could catapult its value into that incredible $52,000 to $128,000 range. Even wrong planchet errors can occur, where the quarter is mistakenly struck on a blank intended for another denomination. Imagine finding a Great Sand Dunes Quarter that looks too small, too light, or struck in copper instead of the usual copper-nickel-clad composition. These wrong planchet errors are incredibly rare and among the most exciting discoveries in modern coinage. Another reason this coin is so desirable is that it's part of a short-run modern collectible series. While state quarters were minted in the billions, America the Beautiful quarters were struck in smaller numbers, especially when it comes to collector versions like proofs and silver proofs. The San Francisco Mint, for instance, produced proof coins for collectors, and if a rare no-S error ever turned up for the Great Sand Dunes issue, like has happened in other years, it would instantly become one of the most valuable modern quarters in existence. What makes the Great Sand Dunes quarter even more engaging for collectors is the story it represents. Unlike older rare coins that feel distant, this one is modern and relatable. It's a coin many people have handled, a coin that still occasionally turns up in change, yet it has the potential to carry life-changing value. That sense of accessibility fuels excitement and curiosity. Anyone watching this video could, in theory, stumble upon one of these quarters and find themselves holding something worth as much as $128,000. Stories from coin auctions highlight just how extraordinary this coin can be. In some cases, near-perfect examples certified by grading companies have shattered expectations, surprising collectors and sparking bidding wars. These sales remind us that in the world of coins, rarity and condition can make all the difference. What might seem like a small difference in quality, a single scratch, a tiny blemish, can mean the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and one worth over $100,000. But the Great Sand Dunes quarter isn't just about money. For many collectors, it's about owning a piece of American history and natural beauty. This coin is a tribute to Colorado's Great Sand Dunes, a place that embodies the vastness and wonder of America's landscapes. Holding this coin is like holding a miniature piece of the dunes themselves, a reminder of the timeless power of wind and sand, and the way nature shapes the world around us. At the same time, this coin carries the thrill of discovery. Every time you check your pocket change or look through a coin roll, there's a chance, however slim, that you could uncover a rare 2014 Great Sand Dunes quarter. The idea that something so valuable could be hiding in plain sight is what keeps collectors searching, and it's why coins like this continue to captivate imaginations. So, the next time you see a 2014 quarter with the sweeping dunes and mountains on the back, don't just toss it aside. Look closer, check the details, examine the condition, and see if anything looks unusual. Because while most are ordinary, that one coin in your hand could be extraordinary. And with potential values ranging from $52,000 to $128,000, the Great Sand Dunes quarter proves that modern coins can hold just as much excitement and treasure as their older counterparts. In the end, this coin is a reminder that history, art, nature, and value can all come together in the smallest of objects. A simple 25-cent piece becomes a gateway into America's story, a tribute to its landscapes, and a potential ticket to life-changing wealth. The Great Sand Dunes quarter of 2014 is not just a coin. It's a symbol of possibility, and it shows us that sometimes the most ordinary things are hiding the most extraordinary secrets.